So we spent a little bit of time so far this morning talking about the teaching side of what we do, but every one of us in this room knows how important it is to make sure that when the students are in our care during the school day, that keeping students safe is our #1 priority, and that is something that we always have to look at, making sure we're doing what we can to move forward. Our next speaker that I'm going to invite out is Mr. Schachter. And I've been fortunate to be able to work with Mr. Schachter for the past couple of years around school safety. And Mr. Schachter's basically dedicated his life to supporting schools in states, in school districts, and improving safety. Mr. Schachter lost his son, Alex, who was tragically murdered at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas. And it's changed his life. It's changed all of our lives. And it's a constant reminder that we still have work to do. And one of the things that we found, we're talking about required instruction, we're also talking about discipline reporting, and we collect some of that data. And there's definitely work to be done. And we found that as we do snapshots across the state, how we collect and how we code and how we define incidences, especially when it comes to assessor reporting, there's a lot of work that can be done. And this has been highlighted by the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas Commission as well as Mr. Schachter, and he's created some resources and tools that he wants to share today, and he's also going to be doing a breakout session and has become a true leader in school safety, and he's going to share a little bit of his story with us this morning, and then hopefully this afternoon we can get into some deeper breakout sessions and see how we can make sure that when these children are under our purview and in our care, we are doing everything that we need to do. So, Mr. Schachter, you can please come join me here at the podium.
Thank you very much, Chancellor. It's nice to be here with everyone. My little boy, this is a collage of some of my favorite pictures of Alex. I love looking at this collage. It's got, I get to smile and look at Alex's smile, look at his dimples, and it's my favorite, some of my favorite pictures. But, the reason I wanted to come here today and chat with you, I'm really glad that I was given the opportunity to talk to you. We only have a couple of minutes this morning, but I wanted to talk to you a little bit about Alex, talk to you about my work since the tragedy, and also talk to you about the charity that we started in Alex's name, Safe Schools for Alex, because we developed a tool that I'm hoping all of you will be able to use and will help your district. After the shooting, I put my life on hold and have made it my mission to make schools safer and prevent tragedies like Parkland from ever happening again, and reducing violence on campus. I traveled to Washington, D.C., made almost 24 trips to Washington, met with 170 congressmen, senators, and met with the president and vice president on several occasions. The charity that we started has been the most gratifying work that I've done since the shooting, and we've got two main initiatives right now. The first is the Let the Music Play On initiative, and we started this because during COVID, all the kids are doing distance learning, and Alex was in the band. Alex played the trombone. He was really talented, and Alex really fell in love with music through Skype music lessons. So my wife said that, we should do something for children to help them, spread this love of music that Alex had. And so currently we offer private online music lessons to middle school band students. And to date, we've delivered over 400 online private music lessons to middle school band students in Title I schools in low-income communities. It's been some of the most gratifying work I've done since the tragedy to see these children really grow and love music. We have launched our second initiative, and that's the reason the Chancellor wanted me to come chat with you, is the school incident report. Safe Schools for Alex has developed the first statewide dashboard to reduce school violence, and we launched this dashboard in Florida on the 3-year anniversary of the shooting. It was Valentine's Day earlier this year. We just launched the Kentucky dashboard, and our plan is to roll it out nationwide. I've done dozens of trainings on the dashboard. We've also trained the Department of Education and the Office of Safe Schools. It's a free dashboard that takes all of the assessor data. So every school in the state of Florida is required to report incidents of violence, drugs, discipline to the State Department of Education, and it's housed on their website. So all the information that's in this dashboard comes from the state DOE website, and currently every school, I'm going to go over all the different assessor data, but the mission of this dashboard is to reduce violence, reduce suspensions, and create a positive culture and climate on all of our campuses. So after this shooting happened, I have 3 other children, and I wanted to make sure nothing happened to them. When I found out that this information was available, I went to the state DOE website right here, and I was confronted by this massive Excel spreadsheet. So what we did was we took all that data and put it into a user-friendly dashboard for everyone to use. So in Florida, we currently, all the schools report incidents of sexual battery, physical attack, weapons possession, drug use, fighting, bullying. All these incidents are housed in the state DOE website. And so if you go to our website, you'll find the dashboard at safeschoolsforalex.org, and you can type in your school in the middle there. You can also click up at the top and go into school. So if you go into the school page and you look at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas, you'll see that they reported 1.3 incidents per 100 students. When compared to all students all schools statewide, it falls into a very low category. And then if you scroll down, you can see that they reported 6 violent incidents, fighting and threat being up at the top. If you hover over property incidents, you'll see they reported 1 vandalism incident. And if you hover a little bit below that, and drug and property, they reported 35 drug and public order incidents, tobacco and drug use being up at the top. And then on the very bottom of the left, you've got the suspension data. You go to the compare page gives you metrics that nobody's ever seen before. You've never had access in a dashboard like this. So you might have your own district's numbers, but you've never been able to see what other districts are doing and how your district compares to other districts. It also gives you the ability to compare schools, every school in the state of Florida. One principal might have their numbers, but they've never seen what their neighboring schools are reporting. So for instance, if you look and you sort it by fighting, we're in the county page right now. It shows Broward County reported the highest numbers of fighting incidents in the state. So Broward County reported 2,200 fights, and then you've got Hillsborough followed by Orange. And then if we factor in enrollment and normalize the data, it shows that Gadsden actually reported 4 fights per 100 students on the very right column. So they are reporting the highest numbers of fighting incidents in our state based on enrollment. Here's bullying numbers. It shows that Miami-Dade County reported 279 bullying incidents last year, the highest in our state. But when you factor in enrollment, it's actually Franklin and Pinellas that reported the highest bullying numbers in the state. This is a free website, so when I've done these presentations, I recommend that all stakeholders, parents especially, look at this data, and if they have a child in their schools, that they engage with the school administration, they engage with the school board member, because I realize that you have a monumental task. And you cannot do this on your own. You need parental involvement, you need community involvement, and that's what I hope this achieves. Here in physical attack, Now, on the left-hand side, I switched to school. So now this is every school in the state, and it shows that OCPS, Academic Center for Excellence, reported the highest numbers of physical attack in the state. It reported 94 incidents. Here's sexual harassment numbers, showing that Liberty, Middle, and Orange reported the highest sexual harassment numbers. And then here, you can actually sort by Broward County. So if you want to look at just your county, you can do that. You can select certain counties, and it shows that Blanche Ely High School reported the highest sex offense numbers. And then you can actually even zero in further and look at your zip code. I presented this to a group of principals or principal advisory committees, and they like this section because they've seen their numbers, but they've never been able to look at their neighboring schools' numbers. And so he liked it because he's going to compare his school to the other neighboring schools. If the neighboring schools have much lower numbers, he's going to have a conversation with those principals because maybe they have programming in those schools that he doesn't have. So I'm hoping that this really encourages a lot of communication amongst the district so that we can all work together to reduce violence and reduce suspensions. And then here's the suspension page in the top right. All you do is you click that click for table button on the bottom there, and you'll see a much larger table. And here you've got a lot of information. You can look at in-school suspensions, and this is showing that this is across the whole state. South Broward High School in Broward County reported the highest numbers of in-school suspensions at 677. Here, this is showing that Ridge Community High School in Polk reported the highest numbers of out-of-school suspensions. So let's talk about big picture here. What are the benefits of the school incident report for school administrators? Well, first, you get access to a free, user-friendly dashboard containing critical data on violence, drugs, and discipline for all Florida public schools. It's a credible, objective, and external source. If you're applying for grant dollars, if you're trying to get legislative support, use the dashboard. All the data is right there. You don't have to figure it out on your own. And you can download the data to help you get grant dollars. It'll help you identify patterns and trends of violence, drugs, and discipline in schools. It'll assist school administrators to target resources effectively. And that's one of the reasons that we created the dashboard. Hopefully the legislators will look at this dashboard. They've never had access to information like this. This will tell you what's happening in our schools and will help us help the schools and help the children that need it most. And it'll give you the ability to compare all school districts and all schools based on assessor, suspension, and incidents referred to law enforcement. And then lastly, it gives you a way to easily identify schools that are underreporting and schools that are over-reporting by mistake.